Everybody likes dog Pokemon. Some are better than others. But during this weekend in Pokemon Go, we have the brand new Paw Prints Event, which is going to be introducing Yamper for the very first time in the game. We're going to run through the details, the bonuses, a few tips to help you guys maximize, and right at the end, we're going to discuss some top targets that you want to be focusing on during this 3-day event, which is very short. This is the Paw Prints in Pokemon Go. Let's get dates out of the way. Yamper's Paw Prints event is going to be taking place on June 20th, which is going to be Friday at midnight, all the way until Sunday the 22nd at midnight again, so literally a 3-day event. Very important to remember that in the middle of this event, we have the Jangmo-O Community Day. We've just covered that with a pack video, and the bonuses, which we're going to touch on a little bit, actually stack. So please check out that video up here, and we're going to leave it at the end screen for you guys. But let's get onto those bonuses now. The main bonuses are going to be 2x catch Stardust for catching Pokemon. All trainers have an increased chance to encounter shiny Snubbull, shiny Poochyena, and shiny Furfrou. But now that that's out of the way, let's have a look at our new Pokemon Go debut. Yamper. Yamper is a dog-type electric Pokemon originally coming from the Galar region and Generation 8. Yamper can evolve into Boltund using 50 candy, and a little bit later in the video we're going to discuss, is Boltund even good in this game? Let's get onto those wild spawns though. Spawning in the wild, we have Growlithe, Snubbull, Houndour, Poochyena, Electrike, Lillipup, Furfrou, Fidough, and some rarer spawns for Hisuian Growlithe, as well as Yamper. Bear in mind, Yamper cannot be shiny. There's going to be a specific timed research taking place on all 3 of these days, which is effectively featuring one main Pokemon. On June the 20th, which is Friday, we're going to get more encounters with Poochyena, as well as 3000 XP and 1500 Stardust. On June 21st, which is Saturday, we're going to get more encounters with the featured Pokemon of Furfrou, with another 3000 XP and 1500 Stardust. And on June 22nd, which is Sunday, we're going to get more encounters with Snubbull, getting another 3000 XP and another 1500 Stardust. Bear in mind that these 3 featured Pokemon, like we said in the bonuses, all have shiny boosts, so it's very important to know the 100% IVs, because you could get a Shundo if you're very, very lucky. For Poochyena, the 100% IV is going to be 290 CP. For Furfrou, the 100% IV is going to be 905, and for Snubbull, it's going to be 530. So screenshot those if you want to remember them. And speaking of research, of course, we have featured field research going down during this 3-day event, where, like we said, the following Pokemon might be featured, but it's not actually listed right now. But I definitely want to throw in Yamper there for you guys. That 100% IV for Yamper coming from field research is going to be 337 CP. And last but not least on research, there's going to be a page timed research ticket for a total cost of only $1, where the main rewards there are actually going to be 4 incense, 6000 Stardust, and we can get some more encounters with Snubbull, Poochyena, Rockruff. Bear in mind that Rockruff could potentially evolve into a Dusk form Lycanroc, so make sure to get that Rockruff. And of course, we can get Yamper in there too. Now that those details are out of the way, now it's time for our top tips, starting off with number 1, which is going to be Stardust gains. Not for some time, I believe, have we seen a Stardust boosted event, but because it's going to be 2x catch Stardust, guys, I want you to remember, please bear in mind, and we mentioned this in the previous video, in the middle of this event is going to be Jangmo-O Community Day. Every Jangmo-O you catch, along with every other Pokemon on either side of this event, is going to grant you 300 Stardust per catch with a star piece running. Guys, that is absolutely broken. You may even be lucky to find weather boosted Pokemon, which grant you even more Stardust per catch, but more than that, you may even find first and second stage evolution Pokemon in the wild that aren't even listed here. Remember, first stage evolution Pokemon grant you 300 Stardust per catch, and a second stage evolution always grant you 500 Stardust per catch. With that star piece running, you can see where I'm going with this. Tip number 2 has to do with Yamper going into Boltund, and how good is Boltund in this game anyway? Well guys, if we look at its base stats first, it has a max CP of 2460, so immediately this could be Ultra League potential. Its attack value is 197, which is pretty solid, but its defense is 131 and its stamina is 170, so it's very much on the glassy side, which is a little bit disappointing. Because it's a straight electric type, it only has one weakness, which is going to be ground, and it takes resisted damage from electric, which is the same typing, flying, and steel. But probably the most disappointing thing here about Boltund is that its moveset, it's very weak, but it's very limited. This might even be the most limited moveset I've seen in the entire game thus far. The only fast attacks it has access to is going to be Bite and Spark, and the only charge moves that it has access to, it's only going to be 2, which is Thunder and Crunch. So off the bat, not great. And if we look at the best DPS moveset right now, that's going to be Spark and Thunder. with a pretty lackluster DPS of 9 and a TDO of 102. So off the bat, we can see that this Pokemon is not going to be that relevant, especially as a raid attacker. But in PvP, for example, things could be a little bit different, but most likely not. And if anything, this Pokemon might shine more in the Ultra League, because if we look in the Great League, I believe there is only one Pokemon that's a straight electric type in the whole top 100, which is quite something. And in the Ultra League, I think there's 3 straight electric types, of which one is Shadow Electivire again. I believe Raikou is there, I think in like the 90s. And of course, the number 1 is going to be Bellibolt, which is of course a straight electric type. So overall, this Pokemon might perform better in the Ultra League, but with that moveset and just how glassy it is, it's hard to see the potential of how good Boltund is really going to be, and if anything, it might feature in the Ultra League best, because like we said, its max CP falls just under that 2,500 cap, which is going to be 2460. Tip number 3 has to do with Furfrou. Again, a beautiful shiny if you do manage to get it, but guys, remember Furfrou has 10 different trims, of which they are its natural form, Heart trim, which is only available on Valentine's Day, the Star trim, Diamond trim, which is only available in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, the Debutante trim, which is available in the Americas, and then available globally, we have the Matron trim as well as the Dandy trim. And then available in France is the Lorraine trim, the Kabuki trim from Japan, and the Pharaoh trim from Egypt. Remember that if you guys want to change the form of Furfrou, you're going to need to use 25 Furfrou candy as well as 10,000 Stardust. So a really good opportunity to try and get as much Furfrou candy as possible so that you can collect all these trims and have them in your Pokédex. Now that the tips are out of the way, what are going to be the top targets to focus on during this event? Unfortunately, a lot of these Pokemon in the wild don't have a lot of utility in the game, but there are a few as a raid attacker as well as in PvP, which could really help us out. Let's quickly look at PvP. I would only look at 2 specific Pokemon, of which the first one is actually going to be Poochyena. Poochyena going into Mightyena actually got a bit of a buff during this Delightful Day season. And Mightyena in the Great League is currently ranked 179, and the best moveset you want there is going to be a 0-12-14. It could work in some limited cups. The other one we want you guys to look at is going to be Fido going into Darkspun. This Pokemon is very, very, very underrated in my opinion, with a current ranking in the Great League of number 50, and the best IV set you want there is going to be a 0-15-14. And even in the Ultra League, Darkspun can put in some good work for you with a current ranking of 148. And of course, the best IV set you want there is going to be a 15-15-15. In other words, a hundo, because its max CP for Darkspun is actually going to be 2370 at level 50. So that's PvP out of the way, but let's look at raid attackers. Well, the first one I want to look at is going to be Snubbull going into Granbull. Granbull right now is a pretty good budget fairy type attacker, especially if you're a new player, and it currently takes the rank of 24 as the best fairy type attacker in the game, which includes Megas and Shadows, which is very impressive. The next one we definitely want you to look at, and this is probably in the top 2 or 3 Pokemon to go after during this event, is going to be Electrike, eventually going into Manectric, and of course Mega Manectric. Guys, Mega Manectric right now is currently the 4th best electric type attacker in the entire game, which is very, very impressive with that Thunderfang and Wild Charge combination. And the same goes for Houndour going into Houndoom and eventually Mega Houndoom with the Snarl and Foul Play combination as a dark type attacker. This Pokemon is currently in the 4th spot, which is very, very impressive. And even in the fire type category, it's not as good as in the dark type category. It's currently taking the 15th spot in the fire type category, which I believe is pretty impressive, especially as a budget type Pokemon, because a lot of these other Pokemon higher up in the list are not as attainable, something like a Shadow Ho-Oh, for example. So guys, that is Paw Prints in its entirety. We really hope you enjoyed this event. Remember to check out Jangmo O Calm Day. We're going to leave it as the end screen, as you can see on my top left right now. Appreciate you being here. Smash that like and subscribe button. We really want to grow with you guys, and the only way to do that is with your support. Love you, go with us, and we'll catch you in the next one, baby.